Is there not an entire section on this subject?
Yes, so it's unfair. I may have changed my mind about ether, for example.
Is your book for sale back?
Yes.
Have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
I'm not sure. I just go and try and do a better job.
Let me tell you.
Say it like you mean it. This is my Bible.
Yo, Trey.
What up?
I got something to say.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let Me Tell You, episode 133. I'm your host, Norm, the Master's Dog Dunham, a.k.a. the Evangelical Norm. So, Let Me Tell You is a podcast I do dealing with cultural issues, political issues, all that stuff that interacts with the Christian worldview, in current events, politics, culture. We're going to talk about Oscars today, which... is that really a culture? Does anybody watch the Oscars anymore? They might now. So that's what the Let Me Tell You is all about. It's just me responding to the news cycle, the spirit of the age, the things that are going on right now, and how those things interact with a Christian worldview. And that's really kind of bottom line. That's it. I used to do this every week. Until I got really just sick and tired of politics. And so I took a break for a while, kind of did it sporadically as things come up. Now I'm trying to do every other Wednesday to kind of get back onto a schedule with this. And maybe I'll get back to a weekly thing. But right now, this is just going to be a Wednesday thing, offsetting the fifth seal. So the fifth seal will be 1 week. The next Wednesday I'll do a Let Me Tell You. If there happens to be an extra Wednesday in the month, I'll probably do an extra episode of this. So stay tuned for that coming up as we go on and things continue to happen. There's always things going on. There's always things to talk about. So let me tell you what I think. So today we're going to jump in real quick. That's the background. That is the background of the podcast. Excuse me, for those who are new. Continue to get 1 to 2 subscribers a day, a week or so. We're up to 320 something right now. So, again, I thank you guys. It is really you who listen, who interact with the videos, the people that are liking, sharing, making comments, even rude comments. You can say whatever you want. I'll take all that smoke. But the more comments you make, the more Mr. Algorithm, this dude up here, which I started calling him Algorithm before he was in Space Jam. So I'm not stealing anything from anyone. I started the gig. Well, somebody else probably started the gig. But he sends it out to more and more people who might like to watch this. So please continue to like, share, comment. If you haven't already, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. Get all the stuff I release here on the Evangelical Norm channel on YouTube. If you can't sit down and watch a video, audio podcasts are available wherever you get your audio podcasts. Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Pandora. You name it, it's there. Look for Let Me Tell You, and you will find that podcast or the Evangelical Norm or Norm Dunham. Anything that would make you find me, you will find these podcasts on audio platforms wherever you get your audio podcast. So there we go. Now let's jump into it. Unless you've been under a rock, I doubt many of you actually watch the Oscars. I used to watch them. I think the last time I watched them was just with some friends of mine in Colorado who really liked to watch the Oscars. It was when Ellen DeGeneres hosted and broke the internet with her posting the selfie with all kinds of people, and Twitter died, right? And so I haven't watched an episode since. I don't know that I watched many before. The Oscars is not my thing. I would much rather watch, if I'm going to watch an award show, I'm going to watch the Grammys. I would probably watch the Dove Awards before I would watch the Oscars again. But again, things happen, and people tend to pay attention a little bit more. And like I said, unless you've been living under a rock, you understand, you know about the smack heard around the world, right? So Will Smith got up and smacked the bleep out of Chris Rock, as Chris put it. I'm not going to play the video. If you want to see the video, you can go find the video. I'm not going to play it here, just simply because I don't want to have to deal with bleeping out the profanity and everything else. But if you know, you know, you saw it. But this brings up so many questions that we can deal with in a Christian worldview and look at this. One, I mean, should we even be talking about it at all? If it hadn't become such a big deal, I probably wouldn't have even thought about it, wouldn't even mentioned it. But it has gone huge, and like every Christian platform out there, from the Sola Sisters to Doug Wilson to Stephen Furtick to Rob Bell. Okay, those are heretics and they're not really Christian, but you get the idea that everybody is talking about this thing. Everybody has an opinion on it. Everybody is dealing with it. I'm not so much want to get into my opinion on, but again, the questions that are raised by this and my opinions on whether or not Will was right to do it, all those things, I really want to look at this from a couple of different angles to address what went down. So the background on the whole thing. So obviously Jada Pinkett dealing with alopecia, which causes her to lose her hair. I've known a whole lot of people who have dealt with this. Some who just are like, hey, it is what it is, and you know, just let the patchiness of the hair do what it does, and they rock with that, and that's cool. She did something that a lot of people will do. Not so much, I don't think you see the females do it as much as you would the men. I mean, it's easy for a dude. I mean, I don't have alopecia, but male pattern baldness. And so rather than deal with receding hairlines, comb overs, stuff my dad did my whole life, which is just cringeworthy, I just went bald. I shave it and I keep it shaved and so on. That's what Jada did. And it's actually becoming more and more acceptable, I guess is a term. I probably offended somebody. For the females to go ahead and go the way that Jada did with her hair here. But again, the reason behind the haircut is the medical condition that, again, I mean, as a woman, do you want to deal with the patchiness? That's not, it's much harder for a woman. I mean, I've known dudes who just, keep their hair nice and high and tight kind of thing and have little patches of where hair is missing. For a lady, it's not so easy. You can't do weaves and stuff like that. You can cover it up a little bit, but I mean, depending on the size of the patches and so on, this is probably one of the, and I don't know where hers were. I've seen a couple of videos where she was talking about, hers was initially came across here was where she was getting it. She was talking about putting some rhinestones and making her own crown kind of thing. Okay, you do you. But so the joke was about G.I. Jane. So Demi Moore, very similar haircut when she did the movie G.I. Jane. And so Chris Rock made the joke, G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. And of course you're looking at Will and he's laughing. He thought the joke was funny. Jada didn't. And again, you've heard the comedy routines, just they all flood. I know there was a big one that Kevin Hart did talking about, when somebody says something to your girl and you end up having to deal with that fight, right? And that's really kind of that whole Kevin Hart routine, comedy routine, just flooded into my head the moment I saw this go down with Will and Jada and everything that went on with this situation, that was the thing, because it's like Will's laughing, you look at Jada, she's not, and she's giving him that look like, what are you going to do about it? And so he reacted in a moment. I mean, I would have expected closed fist. I honestly would have expected a closed fist. But he open-handed smacked him. Again, it leads into so many things. How insulting is it as a man, to be smacked by? And I mean, it's one thing if someone. I remember as a kid getting sucker punched a couple of times, and I think it would have been far more humiliating if it had been an open-handed smack like Will did to Chris. And then so joke over. Chris makes some comments. Will's like, keep my wife's name out your bleeping mouth. Reiterated that twice. Chris is like, I will. And apparently one thing, here in the commentary from Will at this point, apparently he had talked to Chris, because back in 2016, I think it was, when Chris, I don't know if it was 2016, 2018, sometime, so many years ago, when the hashtag Oscars so white were going around, and a lot of black people, actors and actresses, they boycotted the Oscars. They didn't go. There was a specific joke that Chris made about Jada boycotting those Oscars, and essentially the joke was she wasn't invited. How do you boycott something that you're not invited to? He made a crasser comment. It's like me boycotting JCPenney. That was a big thing. Ellen DeGeneres is JCPenney's spokesperson. She's gay. Da, 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 da. Christians don't shop there. I never shopped there before. I haven't shopped there since my dad worked there when I was 10. So how do I boycott someplace that I've never really, in my adult life, shopped at? How do you boycott something that you're not really invited to? How do you, and so, but that was the joke. And so apparently Will had talked to Chris, and I don't know if Chris has made other jokes about Jada. One thing you got to understand as being a person in the public sphere, actors and actresses, public figures, the way they are, you're going to become the butt of a lot of jokes. Now, the butt of a crazy joke is the fact that O.J. Simpson just came out today talking about, well, I understand how Will feels because I've been the butt of jokes. O.J., your jokes are a whole lot different. And, yeah, not really even close to the same thing, dude. Just saying. Excuse me. So then Will went on, accepted his award, was given the Oscar Best Actor for King Richard, which I still have not seen. It's on my to-watch list on Netflix. I just haven't had a chance to sit down for long enough to actually watch it. I mean, I've the other show I've been watching lately on Netflix, and it's only 30 minutes, so I can get a 30-minute show in every once in a while. I hate to watch a movie in pieces, so I'm not going to watch King Richard until I can watch it in its entirety. Until I get 2 hours where I can do that, not going to happen. I guess I actually did. I could have watched it on the plane, but instead I watched The Adam Project. Go watch it. Good show. But so he got the Oscar for Best Actor, proceeded to give a very tearful acceptance speech, cried a lot, tearful, cried a lot, apologized. That was what I was meaning to say. Apologized to the Academy, apologized to apparently the Williams family. I don't know that he apologized to Chris. Apparently later there's been reports have come out that he and Chris, they dapped it up and they're boys again. Whatever. I don't know if that happened or not. What the situation is in that. But there are about 85 different questions that come up in this. I want to deal with a couple. First one is, was this staged? That's the thing going around. So many people are going, oh, they're actors and this was all staged. This is all to bring ratings to the Oscars because their ratings are down and blah, blah, blah. Problem is, this doesn't give ratings to the Oscars. This sends people to YouTube. This sends people to Twitter. This sends people to other places on the internet to watch the video after the fact. That doesn't add to the Oscars ratings. And it's not going to carry over until next year. People aren't going to watch the Oscars next year to go, who's going to smack who? No. By no means. I mean, just the reaction of Chris, the way that Will yelled out afterwards. I mean, it's pretty obvious that this was not a staged event. I mean, even the way that Chris went, uh-oh, and he called him Richard as he's walking up, which was interesting. But all of those things and just not the confusion going on there, everything else. I mean, this is obviously something that was not staged. This was a real retaliation from Will in defense of his wife's honor. And so, yeah, was it staged? Absolutely not. I am not convinced. I've seen 800,000 comments on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that of people, oh, this is staged. I've seen enough staged, performed in enough theater and stuff like that to see something that is staged. This was not staged. No matter how good of an actor you are, this was not staged. I just don't buy it. This was reality. So that leads to another question. Should it have happened? Should Will have responded in this way? I've gone back and forth on this. I really have. As I've listened to other people's opinions and other people talk about this, I have gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Would I have reacted in this way if my wife was the butt of that joke? If somebody made some kind of comment about my wife's health? And that's the thing, is it leads into other questions. Where does comedy draw the line? Where are you off limits in your comedy? Because we've allowed far worse things to come across in comedy than this. I mean, people have made jokes about people with cancer and stuff like, there's been some horrible, George Carlin used to have some just really bad comedy. There's some stuff of his that was really funny. He's an atheist. I'm a Christian. We don't agree on a whole lot of stuff, but there's some stuff that was funny. I mean, they let Kathy Griffin get away with her beheading Trump thing, and so on and so forth. Some of the things that Dave Chappelle has said, that it is just like kind of cringeworthy. Not necessarily the stuff about trans people and so on, but other things. We've heard comedians say some horrible things in the past. Where do you draw the line, and when does it require a retaliation to a joke in this situation? And again, I've gone back and forth going, it did Will act appropriately. And honestly, I think I fall on the side of no. I mean, there is a point in time, and again, he's acting under pressure from his wife. Now, if my wife gives me that look, like, this man has insulted me, what are you going to do about it? I don't know, maybe my opinion will change. Maybe my attitude will change if I ended up in that situation. But, so I don't know. From a Christian worldview, I would have to say this could have been handled off stage. This could have been, now, Will said he talked to him about it. Still, how many times do I forgive my brother? 3 times, 4 times, 70 times, 7 times, right? This could have been something. This could have been a turn the other cheek. This is, if you have something against your brother, go and talk to him one-on-one kind of thing. Now, is Will Smith or Chris Rock Christian? No. I don't know about Chris. Will, no. He's a Scientologist, right? They're friends with Tom Cruise and John Travolta and so on, and that's where last I heard, I don't know, maybe things have changed. Maybe Will's had a conversion experience, but I would say as a Christian man, this would be something that I would approach this man later. Now, if it had continued to go on, if he was like just harping on her and just like digging and digging and digging, and in the public arena that it was, maybe I'm going to get up and physically confront this man. But at this point, I mean, it really was as far. I mean, Chris even said, "Oh, that's a nice one." I mean, as far as jokes go, that was really tame. I mean, he could have gone any number of ways. I mean, the reality is again, and I'm acting on information from the past. So I don't know if Will and Jada still have an open marriage, but as of just a few months ago, I don't remember the guy's name that she was entangled with. They had an open marriage. So those jokes could have come up. Those could have been the jokes that were told, which could have been far more crass, far more inappropriate, far more disgusting, debauched, right? And something that may have required some kind of physical confrontation. This really could have been, and maybe it's one of those where, Will's a tough dude, right? He a little bit bigger, a little taller, more action role oriented than Chris Rock. And so it could have been one of those, grab him by the scruff of the neck, give a tight little squeeze, and then say, keep my wife's name out your mouth, right? Off to the side. It didn't have to be a public display like that. Because that, I mean, again, how does that go? How does that reflect upon Will's character and so on? I mean, Will's kind of got the, he's a tough guy. He's an action film guy, but he has got that reputation of the Hollywood nice guy. Now, if you listen to the rumors and stuff like that, apparently he's not such a nice guy in the public realm when you ask for autographs or stuff like that. He's not so cool, but the persona that he has just completely changed from what it was to now because of this public response. So when I say it's an appropriate response, I mean, if I have to defend my wife, I'm going to defend my wife, right? No qualms about it. I mean, to the death if I have to defend my wife. But again, it depends on what the situation is. If it's just jokes, and I mean, even if we were to go to a comedy club and for whatever reason the comedian decide to pick my wife out of the crowd and start making jokes about her, maybe about weight or hair color or any number of things, she's taller than me. He could come at me about being a short guy with a tall girl or whatever, right? Any number of things. Would that be a situation where I have to stand up and violently defend my wife? No. That's hey, keep my wife's name out your mouth. There are other situations where physical defense may be required, but it would be depending on the physical assault on my wife. So, do I think it was an appropriate response? No. No, I don't. I've come back and I've fallen on the opinion that I don't think it's an appropriate response from a Christian worldview. Is it appropriate worldly? Well, absolutely. Because the world's going to do what the world's going to do. Heathen's going to heathe, right? Pagan's going to pag. So it is what it is. I can't tell you the world what to do because, I have to look at what the Christian... All I can do is call them to repentance and faith and hope that Jesus changes them, right? So from a worldly standpoint, I don't know. I can't give you an opinion because I don't have a worldly opinion. I have to base things off of what I think the Bible tells me I should do. This is a situation where you take your brother to the side and say, hey, not appropriate. That brings me to the last question. This has come up multiple times. Does the sin involved in having an open marriage disqualify Will from defending his wife if necessary? Excuse me. And I would say no. Because they have an open marriage, even if the jokes were about the open marriage and the sin and got really inappropriate and maybe even required at some point a physical confrontation, does the fact that there is sin involved, that Will has gone like, all the jokes that are memes going around, Will's more okay with guys sleeping with his wife than guys making jokes about his wife. Now, again, I look at the videos and stuff like that of where they talked about the entanglement of Jada and this guy, and Will is very weepy in that. He is not happy about that. Now, whether or not this is Jada's thing, which personally, and again, I'm acting on small bits of information that I've observed, I don't think an open marriage is Will's thing. I think Will wants to have a marriage like a marriage should be, where it's him and Jada. I think Jada is the one. Because again, watching those videos and those conversations excuse me, that were had about their open marriage and Jada's entanglement with whatever that dude's name is. I'm sorry, I got to get a drink. Will didn't really seem to like that. That was not something that Will was like, I'm down with this. He was hurt. You could see it in his eyes. He was hurt. But does that sin, even if he was okay with guys sleeping with his wife, which I don't think he is, does that disqualify him from being able to defend his wife when necessary? And I would say absolutely not. I'm sorry. I'm suddenly I don't edit my videos. Sorry, y'all. You just got to kind of deal with the technical throat difficulties. I would say no. Sin does not preclude men from acting in an honorable situation. I mean, does it look hypocritical? Absolutely. Does it look just not right? Is there a lot of confusion in there and so on? Absolutely. But should the need for him to actually defend his wife when it is required, the sin and other situations do not bear on that particular situation. Even in this situation, I don't think the issue of their open marriage had any bearing on the reaction to this particular joke, which was about her health condition, right? So in that, do I think that sin in another area of his life preclude him from being able to defend his wife? Should it be necessary? Absolutely not. Do I think it should have happened? No. I think it could have been handled another way. But again, what Will said, love will make you do crazy things in his speech. I think that's kind of a cop-out, but it may be genuinely the way he felt. And do I think it was staged? Absolutely not. I think it was real. So those were the three things dealing with this that I really wanted to kind of deal with and talk about. So there you go. There's my opinion on the whole situation, joining in with all the other opinions that are out there. And, you know, those things are like opinions are like backsides. They're everybody's got them, and they're usually full of stuff, right? So, but again, it is what it is, and I've put it out there. So thank you guys for taking the time to sit down and listen and see what I think it really is. It is an honor for me to understand that you guys, for whatever reason, maybe it's the beard, somewhat take my opinion seriously. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Again, like, share if you like the video. I don't want you to like a video if you don't like a video. Okay? So again, I shouldn't say like early on in the video, because now that the video is done, if you like it, hit the like button, hit a comment, let me know what you think. Give me your opinion. Tell me how wrong I am. I'm okay with that. I'll take all that smoke. If you haven't already, though, please subscribe. Get the notification. I got a couple more podcasts coming out today. Different episodes of different things. And some stuff coming up tomorrow, I do believe, as well. So get all that content by hitting the notification bell. Grab these on audio if you can't sit down and watch the video. As always, preach the gospel at all times. Use words. They're necessary. And until next time, Soli Deo Gloria.